Moose. I'm going to help answer your questions today. So I'm here with Moose. He is a Bernese Mountain Dog. He was born on an Amish farm and he's extremely well-mannered. This is his first morning here. I can't say enough good things about him. He's such a sweetheart. He barely kept us up last night and he's just been such a good boy. So these are your questions for the January question and answer. The first one is, can you heal from chronic inflammatory response syndrome with carnivore when fat and protein make your symptoms worse? So my answer to your question is you need to figure out why fat and protein are making your symptoms worse. Number one, I hear a lot of people say that they cannot digest fat and protein and they just feel more acidic and things like that, but when you're coming from eating carbs or being primarily a glucose burner, the acidity of your stomach is less. You will have a more alkaline stomach environment. When you switch over to eating no carbs or low carb and more fat and more protein, especially animal fats and proteins, then your stomach will become more acidic. And so these digestive issues will actually resolve with time and consistency. The nutrients and vitamins found in meat itself actually are 100% necessary to heal digestion. So it's kind of a catch-22, but the meat is your medicine. Now, if you don't think it's an acidity problem, then you may also just be eating too much beef or aged meat. You could be running into histamine intolerance. This person did not specify what sort of response they were actually getting. They just said the symptoms were worse. And it could also be that your CIRS, or chronic inflammatory response syndrome, is actually coming from mold toxicity. And if that is the case, then you need to remove yourself from that environment. Regardless, the carnivore diet would be beneficial. You just have to learn how to do it the right way. So my favorite non-aged meat is from Billy Doe Meats. I talk about them all the time. NORTHSTAR Bison also has non-aged fresh meat. Lamb, goat, and veal are all smaller animals, therefore they will be less histamine, but Billy Doe Meats doesn't even use aging for any of their products. It's just not even a part of their process. Not only that, but they are also incredible. I love these people. They're awesome. You can trust them. It's an amazing source. Next question. Next question? Update on shampoo. I don't use it. I haven't used it since the beginning of November. My hair gets better and better. I get it wet when I feel like it, usually once a week maybe. I just brush through it and I just let it dry in my hair plop. Nothing, just water and brush it out and let it dry in the plop. I don't use product, I don't use shampoo, I don't use vinegar, I don't use egg yolks, I use nothing. We even went to Cabo San Lucas for our honeymoon and we went four-wheeling and I got a ton of dirt in my hair. I got, ocean water in my hair and it was not a problem. I was kind of like, is my hair gonna look bad on our honeymoon? But it actually looked awesome and it is so easy to maintain that way. So I would highly encourage anyone to get off of hair products. It's just an unnecessary need unless you are toxic and you have really, really greasy hair. It could be that you're just overwashing, or it could be that you should address nutrition. And I'm not saying that everyone with greasy hair is doing something wrong. I'm just saying that just like body odor, it's a sign that there is a toxicity issue. Next question. How do you know when to fight versus when to yield? This person didn't specify, but I can imagine where they were coming from. And I like this question. I always like your input and thoughts on things. You need to have a conviction. You won't know when to fight or yield if you're just living for yourself and living by your own understanding. So for me, I have Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to pray to, and I have the Holy Spirit to give me wisdom and to give me discernment. And that's why I'm here doing carnivore today. That's why I'm alive today. The reason I moved from keto to carnivore was because the Lord convicted me and then he gave me wisdom on how to do this in a way that works for me. So that's my advice, is you need to find an anchor and look to something greater than yourself for that direction. Thoughts on fruit. It's sugar and it's unnecessary. It's definitely a treat. My favorite is strawberry because it's low carb and it's so delicious. You want to play? I like watermelon. So my thoughts are that I'm not afraid of it, but it's also not serving me. I'm not consuming fruit for any purpose. I like to tell myself that blueberries have really good antioxidants when I eat them, but the truth is that we don't need antioxidants if we're not running on glucose, because running on glucose in itself creates oxidative stress. When we are fat adapted and running on fat, that actually boosts autophagy. What is it, babe? To cut off. It boosts autophagy when we run on fat, which actually clears free radicals and damaged proteins in our bodies and things like that. So fruit thoughts, it's not carnivore, but if it works for you, then it works for you, and I'm super happy for you. Someone also asked, can you do carnivore for the gut, but fat and protein makes me feel worse? So very similar question than the first question that I had from that other person. So if it makes your gut feel worse, it's the answer that I gave you, the very first answer. The environment of your stomach is not prepped for digesting fat and protein, so it will improve, but you should definitely remove the carbs and remove the glucose, because if you don't, Moose, what happens? Then your stomach is alkaline, and we need acidic stomachs like mine. Yes, eating animal foods will help to heal your gut. You definitely need collagen. Everyone talks about collagen for the gut, but you equally need animal fat. Animal fat is going to help to heal and seal your gut as well. Next question. First time order for NORTHSTAR bison, what would I recommend? The baby back ribs. I have the YouTube video recipe for that. You can make them in 25 minutes and they're amazing. They're Pat's favorites. What else from NORTHSTAR bison? I would definitely try rabbit, because that was the first time that I had tried rabbit, was from them, and it's delicious. I love making rabbit stew from a whole rabbit. I have that recipe on my Instagram. Super easy and super delicious. They also have rabbit saddle, which is basically, it reminds me of chicken fingers. Like, it's just pieces of rabbit that you can put in the air fryer. You can also make it into a stew, but they're so delicious. What else would I try? I mean, bison. They have a really good ancestral blend of, I think it's beef with organs in it, so that's really delicious, not weird tasting. And then I would try the bratwurst. The elk and bison bratwurst are fatty. They don't have any sugar. They do have some spices, and they're wrapped in lamb casing, and they're so good. If I want some higher fat, I'll make some of those. They're delicious. And then ground elk. If you've never had elk burgers, ground elk is so good. So good. Hey, do you want some ground elk today, Moose? Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And then the steaks are awesome. Like, they have bison tomahawk, but I really prefer the roasts because they're more affordable, and I actually like the flavor. I love using elk top sirloin or round roast for stew. I make it all the time, especially in the winter. It's delicious. Tyler loves it. Tyler's friends love it. It's top notch. It's a really great way to impress company, and it's so easy. You just put it in your pressure cooker with some celery if you want, and that's it. So that would be my recommendation. My discount code is tailored for NORTHSTAR bison. How many carbs do I eat per day? These days, I mean, when I was pregnant, I was getting up to, you know, some days were low carb, under 5. Some days I would eat up to 50, maybe 80 if I had popcorn and, you know, veggies and stuff. These days I'm under 5 almost every single day. The only carb sources are maybe romaine lettuce with burgers, sauerkraut, kimchi, and egg yolks, or the 1 gram of carb in the prime protein. So I just have no desire for carbs these days. I just want my protein and I feel great. How do I feel about butter or dairy? Another recommendation for NORTHSTAR bison is to try out their raw cheese. So I cannot find raw cheese in Illinois. I could probably go to Wisconsin and get some, but I just include it in my NORTHSTAR bison order. It's delicious. So I have actually been eating more raw cheese. Don't have it every day, maybe once or twice a week now, and it's not a ton. Like, I put some raw white cheddar in this elk stew that I made, and it was so good. It reminded me of French onion soup when the cheese is all melty and delicious. And then I made some nachos with carnivore crisps. My discount code is Tailored Keto for carnivore crisps. And they were phenomenal. They're just so good. So my thoughts on dairy is that it's inflammatory by nature. It does elevate insulin growth factor more than other foods. And raw dairy is less inflammatory, but it's not anti-inflammatory to my understanding. And I've spoken in depth about dairy with Dr. Ken Berry as well, and he is on the same page, and he's not afraid to say it. So, but if you consume dairy and you do great with it, that's great. Butter I don't consider to be dairy really, because it doesn't contain the dairy proteins. If it does, it's a very small amount. And so if you're sensitive to dairy, I don't really think butter is a problem unless you're lactose intolerant. Then that could be an issue, right? But Moose loves dairy. Moose loves the yogurt. We've been eating yogurt together, and he has not had cheese yet. I'm not sure if I'll do cheese for him, but he's gonna eat lots of yogurt, liver, raw beef, and sardines. Does that sound good, Moose? Laundry detergent, white vinegar. It does not make your clothes smell like vinegar. You can stop buying laundry detergent. That's it. Oil pulling beneficial. It is. It does work. I did that a long time ago in my paleo days, and I don't do it now because I'm happy with my teeth. My oral hygiene and my mouth in general is just a lot more healthy, and my teeth are pretty white, and that changed when I started carnivore. I think carnivore does wonders for keeping your mouth clean because it changes the bacteria in your gut and in your mouth. Oil pulling is beneficial, but I don't do it because I don't really want to add another thing to my routine. I'm happy with the simplicity that I have. What, baby? I'm almost done, I promise. Tyler's snacks. He likes jerky. We're making homemade jerky right now. We're almost done. Good boy. We buy cheap cuts from our Hispanic supermarket and slice them with our meat slicer. One of Tyler's relatives got us a meat slicer for our wedding, and then his mom also got us a new dehydrator for our wedding. So we are stocking up on homemade jerky. It's delicious. He loves carnivore crisps. He likes cheese. We buy the... You want to get down? We buy the Kerrygold Dubliner cheese from Costco. He loves that. He snacks on butter. And he also snacks on the little cups of Too Good yogurt. He likes the vanilla and strawberry. Oh, and he loves my ice cream. I make homemade ice cream from heavy whipping cream, egg yolks, allulose, and maybe a little bit of vanilla. I like to add a little bit of the chocolate prime protein also to make a chocolate one. It's like custard, and he loves that. Vitamin C recommendation. So to get vitamin C on the carnivore diet, you could do raw liver. Keep in mind that cooking will cook out vitamin C. That's the only vitamin that will cook out with heat. But good sources on carnivore are going to be sweetbreads, which is the pancreas and thymus glands, and liver. Those are the best sources of vitamin C. You could also just use the juice of a lemon or a lime if you're really thinking that you need vitamin C. But our needs for vitamin C go down when we no longer consume glucose because it is an antagonist of glucose. It shares the same it competes for the same pathway as glucose does. So when we stop eating glucose, that pathway is opened up and your body better uses all the vitamin C that it gets. And that is it. So thank you for your questions, and look forward to lots more visits from Moose in the future.